Hello, it's Gray.
Hello, it's Crystal.
And this is Fascination Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show many, many times.
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
Both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 5, Episode 8, Changing Channels, written by Jeremy Carver, directed by Charles Beeson.
Is this just like the season of like being weird about Asian people? Like,
I don't
just
know.
last week.
I don't know. I mean, okay, first, I want to say that Changing Channels is an episode that I've watched more recently than the other ones, as I've mentioned last episode. Mm-hmm. I watched it around the time. You remember when I watched Dog Day Afternoon and I was trying to convince everyone in the podcast that it's the best supernatural episode of all time? Around that time, I also watched this episode.
But yeah.
Well, it was the vibe. But I also watched this around that time. So this is like a lot more fresh in my memory.
So you like it less than Dog Day Afternoon?
Oh, absolutely. Dog Day Afternoon is the best supernatural episode of all time. Well, it's not, but it could be. Yeah. So this one, I kind of like have a beat by beat knowledge of the episode already. Mm-hmm. And even then, I was so surprised that it was like so nothing. For some reason, had the feeling watching this like without the mindset of I'm gonna talk about it in the podcast, that there were more funny bits, like there were more like they're in the TV show bits. Mm-hmm. But apparently not. Apparently it's just what it was.
I think it's just a joke that works best the first time round and then not on repeat. Like, yeah. I think it is funny the first time.
What define first time?
Like the first time you watched the episode ever,
I suppose. Yeah. I think, yeah, perhaps so. Maybe it's because I remember it. That's what makes it, etc., etc. It is a very interesting concept for an episode. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I have gripes on how they handled some of the show, especially Dr. Sexy MD. I mean, this has been said on Tumblr before, but like, it is a bit frustrating that they're making fun of Grey's Anatomy, and the way they do it is like it's about a hot male doctor, and it's like, well, Grey's Anatomy is not about Dr. Sexy, aka like the hot doctor that Meredith marries for a while and then dies. It's about Meredith Grey. You're such a loser, whoever you are, Jeremy Carver, for fucking characterizing Grey's Anatomy this way.
I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. All I know is that Sandra Oh was on it. Yeah. And that there's gay sex in it at some point.
Yeah, you know, when Sandra Oh leaves, I think I don't remember if this is true, but I think I had this thought, so maybe it's not true, maybe it is, that they danced to a Tegan and Sarah song, and I was like, that's pretty gay.
What?
There's a lot of Sarah Oh's character, so Christina Yang, I think is her name, and Meredith, they danced to a Tegan and Sarah song. That's pretty gay. when Sarah Oh leaves the show. And I was like, well, maybe they are in love or whatever the fuck. So yeah.
Maybe they are.
But yeah, there's really a lot of anemic pop this episode. Just like
yes.
did
not want. Yeah.
Not wanted.
Yeah, he wished for it to be shoved up our asses or whatever he said.
Crystal, what did you know about this episode before going in, by the way?
So like Gabriel puts them in like alternate universes where they play characters on shows like sitcoms and hospital dramas. Cass appears a few times with duct tape over his mouth looking really hot. At some point, Sam is the Impala because there was like like a Tumblr poll that was like, which of these things didn't happen in Supernatural? And I think I clicked on Sam as the Impala. And then I was like, wait, no, he is, though.
He literally was the Impala.
And then at some point they trap Gabriel in holy fire, and he tells them to follow their fate or something because he's like sad about his brothers fighting or something. Yeah. Oh, and as mentioned before, I knew that there would be a girl in a bikini in the sitcom universe and that she would be Asian. So yeah.
Cass is like, I think I've mentioned this last episode when you were like, oh, changing channels is upcoming. He is nothing this episode. Like,
he
what
doesn't
does he
like
play?
Speak.
Literally, Cass no confrontation. Like what? He does a menacing look back to Gabriel, but that's it.
Yeah, both he and Sam are very I to him in this episode during the confrontation with Gabriel, which makes me quite upset. Given that Dean also got all the lines during Raphael being trapped in holy fire too. Like,
this one I'm more bitter about.
Yes, because Sam wanted to ally with the trickster at the beginning, and they completely dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Like when Dean goes, "Come on, Sam," like to get him to leave with him, and then Sam does. Like, I was fuming.
Yeah. This episode starts with a dance sequence that is truly so on the nose, on the face, everything. A lot of like, oh, you're the Lucifer's vessel. Oh, you're Michael's vessel. And then we get the trickster and like, you know, stuff from Tall Tales, stuff from Mystery Spot. And yeah, I forget. How does Mystery Spot end? How does it get resolved?
Sam does not tell Dean. Well, okay, I guess it's like Dean dies for real.
Yeah, and then Sam goes on
Sam
like
spends
a 6 month or whatever
on a giant revenge quest. And then Bobby shows up and Sam's like, I'm gonna kill you to get all of your blood in order to summon the trickster and kill him. But then Bobby is the trickster, and then Sam's like, you have to bring Dean back and turn time back or I'll kill you or some shit like that. And then it happens, and then it's Wednesday, and Sam tells Dean that nothing happened.
So why do they not know that the stake is still not gonna work? What's the logic behind that?
Good question.
Uncertain. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they didn't. So there's that.
Yeah.
It is super fun to see Dean die over and over again in Mystery SWAT.
Yeah. Like, I wish.
And like, I love that this dance sequence ends with the trickster being like, oh, see, Dean's your weakness, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be the death of you, Sam. Which I feel like I did not appreciate when it first aired as much as I should have. But now I'm like, yeah. Oh, Sam.
But Sam. But they do nothing with Sam this episode, so I don't really know why that's how the then sequence ends.
So we start the episode in a motel, and it is like...
Oh, also this episode aired on November 5th, 2009.
Oh my god,
so
Stack Natural places this beside Despair.
Yeah.
What an ugly-ass episode title, Despair. They should have stuck with the truth. Well, anyway, it's a sitcom style.
Yeah, the coloring is very saturated, but also looks exactly the same as late season Supernatural.
Yeah, and it starts with like a Dean's voiceover going, Supernatural is filmed before a live studio audience. Anyway, Dean is making a sandwich, and he is tall. I'm gonna move your mouth. Blah, blah, blah. They do this bit. I don't know.
Yeah, and the best thing is that we learn later that they're not under any mind control. Like Sam and Dean both decided to put their pussies into like doing sitcom acting.
I think this part of the episode is the one where they're already like, oh, we need to play a role. So that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I watched this with Danica, and she made the point that like Sam got out of the herpes commercial like land despite like not particularly playing along besides just saying the lines. So like they could have just said the lines, but no, they're doing their goofy like hands on hips, like cocking their heads, like all that shit. Like that was voluntary.
Yeah, maybe this was Sam's dream all along. Maybe Sam always wanted to be a comedian, and that's why we're here.
Oh God, well, I'm glad that he'll never listen to this podcast because of how much we call him unfunny.
I think Sam would be like, I should be a stand-up comedian. I solemnly think that in another universe,
really?
Sam would believe that he would be a good stand-up comedian. And
why would he think that?
I don't know. He'll be like, I have interesting stories to tell, and I can tell them in a comedic way. Let's do stand-up comedy. And then he literally is the most unfunny person in the room at all times.
I think if he told stories about hunting straightforwardly, people would find them funny, but like because he would like try to act them out to make them funny, or they would stop being funny.
He would do his comedy shows at hunter bars, and his audience will all be hunters, and they'll be like, haha, Sam, that's so funny. And they would only be doing it because they're afraid of Sam Winchester.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's this bit also where Sam is like, have you done your research? And Dean's like, oh, my research, yeah. And then like a woman opens the bathroom door, and she's Asian. And she's Asian. I don't know. Are we going to talk about it here?
We'll talk about what?
I don't know.
Just how it's annoying.
Yeah, it's just whatever. We've already talked about it.
Supernatural's not beating the allegations. It's not beating the percentage of Asian women that like exist on the show. And yeah.
Well, it ends with like a son of a bitch from Dean and a laugh track. And then we get, you know what? A truly very cute title sequence.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
It's nice.
Yeah, and I love that the line is like, there's a song that's playing in this opening sequence, and they're all like doing goofy bits, like biking around. There's like a point where Sam opens a cabinet and there's like a very fake white sheet ghost inside, and he closes it and he leans back like, I'm so scared, which is so fun.
And then he just starts laughing or something.
Yeah, there's one where Dean gets some oil on his face and then he's like, ha ha ha. And the music, the lyrics are so funny. Like, it's town to town, 2-lane roads, family biz, 2 hunting bros, and then living a lie just to get by. Which is like, okay, call them out, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also like sports this episode. I mean, later there's a whole basketball bit, which I absolutely did love 100%. But here they're playing football, like the American one. And yeah, fun stuff. I truly love that they play basketball this episode, even if it's this corny ass, like, not basketball, but
so true. We move to another genre. There's like a song playing that is like quiet and like emo, but not emo the genre, just emo the feeling.
What is this genre? It's like easy listening, adult alternative pop.
Marina is the artist, and her genres are indie rock, indie pop, and alternative rock.
Wow, I'm right.
Yeah, and they chose her because her music has been on Grey's Anatomy before. This is like we get a Wellington, Ohio 2 days earlier thing. And what's happening is a Dr. Sexy MD episode. And there's like a man and a woman who enter an elevator and then start making out like nasty style. And Dean,
a leg is thrown up and everything.
Yes, a leg is thrown up and everything.
And
then we
just
zoom
religiously
out,
watching this.
And yeah, Dean is like, he's wearing like a full suit. And he's sitting at the edge of his bed, like, leaning all the way forward, just, like, staring at this.
He's so into it.
Yeah, I think good for him.
I mean, I think, honestly, solemnly, this is our first, like, Dean is attracted to men episode. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's literally Dr. Sexy MD.
There were stuff before. Obviously, like, season 1 to 4. But this is the first one where it's like, there is no other way to interpret this, I believe. Like, the stuff later. I don't know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget that Dean
what makes Dr.
Sexy
sexy is the fact that he wears cowboy boots, so...
He's kind of crazy for that.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
There's no accounting for taste. Bi people are allowed to have bad taste, I suppose. Even if they're Dean Winchester.
Especially if they are.
I don't know about that one. You know what? Yes, because it means that he'll go after, like, people who, like, less people are going after, I suppose, so that he can leave the better pickings to the more deserving. But anyway, so...
I cannot believe that Cass is in love with Dean Winchester. That is so unfair to everyone else in the world.
It really is! And it's just because he met him first, like, it could have been anyone.
Could have been me. Could have been you. Could have been Sam. Like, could have been Bobby, even. Like,
literally could have been Bobby.
And maybe it is Bobby. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Sam comes in and asks Dean what he's watching, and Dean says it's Dr. Sexy MD, and referencing Monster at the end of this book, he says that it's based off of a book. And then Sam says, when did you hit menopause? Which is quite rude. But this is what the two of them do, I suppose. And Dean, I think, started it in their childhood. But yeah, sad. Does this cycle ever get broken?
I think there will be less like haha you're gay jokes in the future. So that's probably
just because it's like less societally acceptable to put it on TV.
And also it becomes too real. Like maybe Dean is gay. So like
yeah. Huh, I feel like the haha you're gay jokes for Sam extend longer though.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Interesting. Dean, like, just goes like, oh, I was channel surfing, like, I'm not a fan, I don't even know this show. And then they go to the police station as FBI people, because someone named Bill Randolph died from his head getting ripped off.
I don't think I've ever said it in the podcast before, but they truly put on an FBI voice, and it is hilarious to listen to every single time. Like when the officer's like, well, what else could it be? Blah blah blah, and then Sam's like, how sure are you that it was a bear? And it's like, okay, go Sam. It's so goofy.
And it wasn't a bear because Bruce Banner has not any hair on his body.
This is so sad.
So sad. But yeah, basically, cops think it's a bear, but whatever it was, chased the guy through the woods and, like, followed him all the way to his bedroom to kill him. They decide to interview this man's wife, who saw the whole thing. And basically, the interview goes by pretty fast. She's just like, whatever I saw, it was, like, crazy, like, it had to be a bear. And eventually Sam and Dean convince her to tell them what she saw, which was The Incredible Hulk, the version from the TV.
I've never watched this.
Yeah, me neither.
Are we too
I watched
young
one
or
of the.
am I too foreign? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Let me look up this Lou Ferrigno.
I think for me it's I'm not American. That's why I've not watched it.
The show went from 1978 to 1982.
Oh well, it is because we're too young. We're babies. Yeah.
Dean asks, would there be any reason that the Incredible Hulk would have a grudge against your husband?
And even the wife was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, and that's the scene.
Wonderful. In a motel, Dean's doing his research. Sam comes in, and it is like reminiscent of the sitcom scene, but this is serious stuff. And what it is Sam visited the place, and there's an 8-foot wide hole at the front door that is, Hulk size. Mm. And also, Dean has found out that the guy who died has some anger management issues. So, yeah.
I mean, he, has a court record of beating his wife. It's quite bad.
Yeah.
And they treat it very blasely. They're just oh my god, he's such a hothead, just like the Hulk.
Yeah.
No, not like the Hulk. What?
It was a bit surprising to have this be here and be whatever, because we just met his wife.
We talked to her.
Met his wife. We literally just talked to her. Sam goes, so a hothead getting killed by TV's greatest hothead. Kind of sounds like Just Desserts, doesn't it? And he thinks he's so funny. And he goes, wow,
yeah, I mean, doesn't Gabriel say that phrase in an earlier episode?
Just Desserts?
Yeah, I thought so. But maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure if he says just desserts, but I think this is Sam trying to be just desserts. Just like the trickster, because he likes sweets. He's so corny.
Is Sam the one who brings up that it might be a trickster in I Believe the Children Are Our Future?
Yeah. Gabriel is in his head.
Sabriel is real, maybe.
It's kind of real.
Yeah.
Sabriel is
I believe
real.
it. I get it. Just Desserts is a phrase said in Mystery Spot.
Yeah. By who? By who?
Dean says it.
Wow. Stealing jokes. That's so bad, Sam. Have some creative integrity.
Yeah, don't you care about your future stand-up future?
Yeah.
Your career's in jeopardy. Your reputation.
Exactly. Sam reveals that he saw some candy wrappers on the crime scene. So the trickster must be here. And yeah.
Dean says, I've wanted to gank that mother since Mystery Spot. An incredibly funny sentence.
Such a
Every
Dean
time Supernatural
sentence.
Won't say that is what Danica said. She paused at this point. She was like, that is a quintessential Dean Winchester sentence.
Literally.
I love when Supernatural can't say motherfucker, and instead of just putting a new word in, they're like, no, we have to say motherfucker, but censored. No, you don't.
Dean is like, yeah, we're gonna kill the guy. And Sam is like, are we? Are we gonna kill the guy? Maybe we shouldn't kill the guy. But Sam's argument is that since this guy's kind of like a party, whatever, let's all have fun and have some games. Maybe he wouldn't like that the apocalypse is happening. And maybe he would want to stop it. So maybe they could ask for help. And Dean is against this because he thinks the trickster is a horrible, horrible guy. But Sam's like, well, it's the apocalypse. We can't be choosy.
Yeah. He says we don't have the luxury of a moral stand. Bold words from, we're the good guys. We don't kill children 2 episodes ago.
Literally.
I mean, I stand with him for both of the decisions that he's made in these 2 episodes, but like he's being very back and forth about this, I feel like.
They wait until they hear like a good case happening in the police radio. And eventually they do, while Dean is sharpening this fucking stake, so we know that they're preparing to kill the guy. The report is like in a warehouse, so they head there. But when they get there, it's empty. No police cars, no anything. And they still go in.
Yeah.
Now, part of them is like, maybe this is a trick. They dig out.
Yeah, like, you're going after the trickster, you guys? Like, come on.
What if this is a trick? Nah, the trickster definitely won't trick us. Like, dude, come on. But they enter the building, and when they enter, they are in Dr. Sexy MD land.
When they're inside, there's like 2 doctors that pass them, and the transcript specifies that one of them is Asian, and I guess that's because like that's like the Sandra Oh character stand-in.
Yeah, I suppose.
I suppose so. I think that the Dr. Wong of this episode is fine-ish. I mean, both of the doctors pass by Sam and Dean, and they both go doctor kind of flirtily at them. But I feel like Dr. Wong is aimed more at Sam, so like I guess it's not part of the Dean pattern, at least.
It is sad that this is how Supernatural starts its footing with Asian women. Because now, like, every single time there would be an Asian woman, like, going forward, it will be, like, at the forefront of your brain, you know? And that's not, like, an enjoyable way to do anything. Of, like...
Yeah, wait, was the first Asian woman that we saw on screen, like... via, like, busty Asian beauties? Like, was there an Asian woman in Supernatural before Tall Tales?
I think the one where they're like, oh, you're the maid.
Yes, the maid. And wait, that was in Crossroad Blues, so that was... Which episode? That was 208, so that was, like... Before. And then Tall Tales was 215. So yeah, we got a maid, and then we got porn mag cover.
Yeah, because,
lovely.
Like, it is not fun for anyone to, like, every time you see like an Asian woman in Supernatural to be like, oh, are they gonna do it?
Tensing up, yeah.
Yeah. But because of the way Supernatural is and has been, that is your immediate reaction, which is not fun.
Would be nice if characters appeared and you didn't immediately start, like, turning your racism, like, detector on.
Exactly.
Sad. They're in, like, lab coats and all of that, and then Dean opens a closet, and there's a man and a woman making out, and he realizes that, like, one of the doctors here is, like, Dr. Piccolo from Dr. Sexy MD or whatever. But she goes up to Sam, and then she slaps him in the face. And she goes, seriously, you're brilliant. You know that? And a coward. You're a brilliant coward.
So true.
And Sam's like, what is happening? And she slaps him again and goes, as if you don't know. And just goes off. And Dean's looking at her and he's like, holy shit, that's Dr. Piccolo. She's the sexy yet earnest doctor at Seattle Mercy Hospital. We're in Dr. Sexy MD.
We are.
Good,
and then he
them.
starts, like, pointing at random doctors and being like, that's the sexy but blah 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 doctor.
Yeah, he does say that a lot.
Yeah. He is a big fan.
He is a big fan. Yeah. I mean, we know he's a house watcher because he references it. So, yeah, I guess he could just be
a medical
because
drama
later
connoisseur.
he says he hates, like, procedural cop dramas, but he likes procedural medical dramas, which I feel like are like not that dissimilar. But I guess the medical ones are a bit more focused on interpersonal drama between the doctors than the cop ones. Sam and Dean are talking about what potential reasons for them being trapped here is. And Sam says, I think the trickster trapped us in TV land. And Dean goes, that's a stupid theory. Which is
literally
like,
not.
It's like the most reasonable theory ever. I don't get it. Like, what does Dean think is happening? And I think part of it is just that Dean is not aware that the trickster can put them in situations like this because he only knows him from Tall Tales. Because Sam didn't tell him about Mystery Spot.
I am surprised that they didn't use this to be like, he's an angel. Because only angels have done this to them prior. Like,
yeah.
I think It's a Terrible Life. No, It's a Terrible Life is not this logic. But the end is kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, It's a Terrible Life can fall under manipulation of reality or in time. Yeah. Especially when Cass shows up and it's like you've been missing for days. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But, yeah. Right. I mean, the logic that they use being like, he knows Cass, I think, is pretty funny as well.
It is. Yeah. Like, I know that Cass doesn't have friends. This has to be a family member.
Literally.
I guess it is weird that, because, like, canonically, Dean never told Sam about the end, and Sam never told Dean about Mystery Spot, and that never comes up as a point of conflict this episode, and I feel like there is a lot of potential for that to come back up again. But, like, I don't know. They dropped the ball on a lot of potential, like, juicy character or plot things this episode in lieu of being funny, so whatever. It's fine.
Intentionality.
Yeah, and the person who made the then sequence, like, thought that we were doing family drama, but they were wrong. Dean is like, no, this is, like, real, because, like, there aren't, like, lights and crew members around. And then, as he said, he starts pointing people out. Dr. Wong is a sexy but arrogant heart surgeon. There's a guy who's, like, a ghost in the mind of a sexy yet neurotic doctor. Blah, blah, blah. And then they do the first of their meta jokes, which is that Sam goes, this show has ghosts? Why? And Dean goes, I don't know. It's compelling. And then, you know, he's having his fanboy moment, and then he has his real fanboy moment where he sees something in the distance and just, like, he goes, freezes. He gasps. He goes, like, it's like, he's, like, barely breathing. He's, like, trembling a little. He goes, oh, boy. It's him. It's him. It's Dr. Sexy.
I cannot think of a fictional character I would have this kind of reaction with.
Yeah, like, this is, like, IRL David Tennant, and then, like, that's the no one else. Yeah.
Well, God, that's embarrassing. I don't think David Tennant plays any character that will make me go for, like, this for the character, but...
Yeah, because it's, like, I don't know, like, yeah, because, like, there's, like, Blorbos, but, like, you don't act like this about Blorbos. Like, this is, like, idol status for a character, and I don't think there's any character that I admire. Like, if I like a character, it's because, like, I want to see them with blood on their face and crying.
I mean, there are certain academics that I would probably feel this way about, honestly. Later on, we do see, like, a quote character that Dean also acts this way with, which is Lawler Gunnis. Oh, Gunnis Lawler. I have the
lawless gunner, Gunner Lawless.
I think it's Gunner Lawless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he just acts like this with his idols. It is such a weird thing to make a fictional character your idol in this way, but sure, go ahead, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's an idol thing. I think he just wants to fuck this guy really bad. Yeah, like David Tennant isn't my idol. I just want to fuck that guy really bad.
I hope to God neither of us meet David Tennant because I personally do not trust myself.
I would leave.
Be a
like,
normal person.
He deserves to live his life unimpeded by the likes of me. I would leave the room.
I think I would just collapse and die. Like, I don't even give a shit about him. I think I'll just drop dead.
God, this is so embarrassing. Whatever. Everyone wants to fuck David Tennant. It's fine to want to fuck someone that everybody wants to fuck. Like, I find it more embarrassing because everyone wants to fuck him, but
yeah,
like
so
I
basic.
need like boutique like people I want to fuck. But yeah. Anyway, Dean just wants to fuck this guy really bad. So he comes up to them, Dr. Sexy comes up to them. It's just crazy how, like, his name is Dr. Sexy and they have Dean react this way. And, like, they really don't make a lot of jokes about it. Like, they make jokes about him being into the show, but not like, that this interaction. So it, to this like, guy. Yeah, so, like, it really does feel, like you said, this is, like, the first Dean is attracted to men moment. And, like, yeah, the fact that they don't make any jokes undeniable. About it is... Yeah, it's, like, it's interesting. And I think it's because just the idea of Dean being bi is, like, so far from their minds that, like...
From their writers'
Because if they were, like, people, like, are thinking that Dean is bi and are asking about Destiel at cons, they would, like, definitely put a joke in. But, like, due to how there isn't... Like, that isn't on their minds and there isn't a joke, then it feels realer. So, congratulations on Dean's bisexuality.
But, like, later on, I mean, Gunnar Lawless, again, like, Destiel was already a thing when that was happening. In season 8 with Aaron, like, Destiel was already happening, and they still did all that. Or, at that point, is it queerbaiting fully then?
I think by that point it was queerbaiting, yeah, probably.
Here, maybe it's not undermined yet, and that's why it's just this earnest, I believe. It's crazy. That guy's bisexual. Who would have thought?
Like what was Jensen homophobic Ackles like?
What was he channeling here? What was he channeling here?
What was he going off of here?
Let's not do this.
I'm not sure. He was thinking about Eric Kripke. All right, in the end, moving on. So yeah, that was a joke. Everyone knows that was a joke, but I really do need to clarify that I'm not a Kripke Ackles truther.
Or are you?
Or am I? I'm not. So Dean, he's like, you know, just like so in awe of this guy that he wants to fuck, and Dr. Sexy goes, doctor, and Dean goes, doctor, and he's like trying to hide a smile. Yeah. Dean has to elbow Sam to get him to go, doctor. And Dr. Sexy says, like, you know, one of those lines, you want to give me one good reason why you defied my direct order to do the experimental face transplant on Mrs. Beale? And Dean's like, oh, and he looks down, and then he notices Dr. Sexy is wearing white tennis shoes, and then he fucking slams Dr. Sexy against the wall in, like, the same move that he does to Cass in, like, season 12, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. When he finds him hiding in that motel after his truck broke down.
God.
And he's looking up how to fix truck.
God.
So gay.
He's so special to me.
So iconic.
Yeah. So Dean goes, you're not Dr. Sexy. Because I swore part of what makes Dr. Sexy sexy is the fact that he wears cowboy boots, not tennis shoes. And there is a joke that's like Sam going, "Oh yeah, you're not a fan," but like it isn't about like how Dean clearly wants to fuck this guy. Dean's like, "I know who you are, homophobic dog style," and then everything freezes and Dr. Sexy turns into Gabriel. He's like, "Teehee, I'm having so much fun." I guess they lost their wooden stakes on their way in, or no, they still have them.
It gets taken. No, they don't. Like later, it was like they picked it up in the grassy area. That's how they got it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so their wooden stakes got taken. Sam goes, "That was you on the police scanner. This is a trick." And he goes, "Hello, trickster." Just like the joke we made in Bad I can't believe that Gabriel, just like Sam, is a joke stealer, but I guess that's why they're perfect for each other.
Literally.
And he says, like, "I just heard you guys were in town, so I wanted to trick you guys, like, for fun. And I made this whole world just to have said fun." And he won't tell them how to get out. And Sam starts saying, like, "Hey, like, we need your help." But Gabriel is just like, "You guys broke the world and you want me to sweep up your mess? Well, you can talk to me if you survive the next 24 hours of this game." And he won't tell them anything else, and then he disappears.
So Sam and Dean are just like, what the fuck now? They're walking around. Dr. Piccolo comes in again and tries to slap Sam again. But he's like, "Lady," which is, I really do hate the usage of the word lady when it's like referring to someone directly.
Yeah, like, same.
Yeah, like, I say lady when it's like, oh, there's a lady like, who blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when it's like you're calling someone and you, instead of saying miss or whatever, ma'am, you say lady, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Although I suppose there was a time when lady was like sir, right?
No, but ma'am was like sir.
Really?
Or you mean the title?
Yeah, like Lady Beatrice.
Yes. That's true. But I don't think that's what Sam is going on.
Absolutely not. She starts doing the brilliant, but a coward speech again. But yeah, and she eventually does this speech where after Sam goes, "I'm not a doctor," she goes, "Don't say that. You're the finest cerebrovascular neurosurgeon I've ever met." And yeah.
"I have met plenty. So that girl died on your table. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. Sometimes people just die."
Very iconic. I mean, they trying to do something here with like Sam's guilt over everything?
Huh. I don't think so.
I mean, for a while when she was like, "So that girl died on your table, it wasn't your fault," I was thinking about it like, maybe that's related. And then when she goes, "Sometimes people just die," and I'm like, well,
no, they're just making fun of hospital dramas. Yeah.
And Sam the gaff, and she's like, you're afraid to offer it again, and you're afraid to love," and then she leaves. And as they move on, Dean gets called by the husband of the patient who needs a face transplant. And Dean is like, "Look, there's none of this is real. Your wife isn't real. She doesn't need anything from me. She's not gonna get a face surgery." And as they walk away, the guy pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Just like in House MD, which no one should watch.
Exactly. And then Dean collapses on the floor. It's real. He really is shot with a gunshot wound, which is extra fascinating because like it's not like he shows any sign of it afterwards.
It's true.
So Sam is like calling for doctors, etc., except there's no doctors. Eventually they end up in an operating room where Sam is operating on Dean, and he's just like pressing on the wound, and then somebody like gives him a scalpel, and he just like nods no and smiles. Iconic. And everyone's confused, doesn't know what's happening. And eventually Dean was like, Sam, just do anything. And Sam calls for a penknife, some dental floss, a sewing needle, and a fifth of whiskey.
A fifth of whiskey. You're in a hospital. You could just get real anesthetic. In a hospital.
Literally, wait, what is the whiskey for? I thought it was like an alcohol. Or it's like for Dean to drink.
I'm not sure. It's either for Dean to drink or for cleaning the wound. Both of which is
either
like
way,
you can get like real antiseptics and real anesthetic.
Exactly. But eventually, it's great. Everything's great. And by the way, Dean is awake this entire time and he's face down on like a spa chair situation. And he's looking at like these blue tiles, which is a fun transition shot. But like we see Dr. Piccolo like on the window going, Sam, you're so wonderful, blah, blah, blah. As Dean looks at the floor and everybody moves away, so it's just the blue tiles. And then suddenly he hears like some clapping and some cheering. And then the tiles become doors and they slide open.
And now we are at a Japanese game show, and wow, Supernatural sure is a TV show that hates Asian people. There's like a stage, I don't know, everything's painted red, everything's very high energy, and there's a host and two women on stage, and the two women are both wearing like skimpy like devil outfits, and they're like just like two more Asian women this episode in bikinis for like fan service for whatever reasons. Yeah.
The thing is, I'm Filipino, right? I'm not Japanese. I'm not that familiar with Japanese TV. But Filipino game shows, a lot of them do feature like women dressed like this. And then they do the ads, they do the like giving the prices away, etc. And like that's part of the look. That's part of the look of a lot of these shows. That like you will just have women dressed like this. Of course, there's misogyny in the Philippine entertainment industry. And I mean, pretty much all entertainment industries in the world.
Yes.
I would say the implication of it is different when it's in an American show. Or is it? I don't know. Because, like, the thing about this bit specifically, like, the Japanese game show, is like, Japanese game shows do look like this sometimes. But there is a layer to it when you are portraying it in a show as racist as Supernatural. Blah, blah, blah.
Like, part
blah,
of the
blah,
humor
blah.
is like, isn't it
The
so
othering,
crazy that like these people in quotation marks are like this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like what I want to say here is that what you said, like the quote people part of it, is like whenever you watch something and it's like, oh, it's a wacky thing from a wacky place, I want you to think about the fact that those are made by people. They're for people. They exist in a culture made up of people. We're people, like people who are not from the United States. I'm a human being, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just too sensitive about this, but
No.
it like when I did watch this, like my immediate thought was like, oh yeah, like there is like a conception of like the foreign as, oh, so weird and so eccentric and so blah blah blah, and like it is as someone who exists in a global society. I do think frequently about how people perceive me, like in this podcast too, because a lot of our listeners are from Western countries, from what's that one country that we got a lot of listeners from? I forgot.
Oh, was it like Denmark?
Denmark? Yeah. So our main listener
I know a lot of our
United
listeners are
States
from Denmark.
and Denmark. Well, like, I just want to tell everyone, and I mean, it's something I think about, right? That like, oh, I wonder how people perceive me, especially when I'm telling stories that are like very Filipino centric or very based on my experience, etc. Like, I wonder how I'm perceived, like, or those stories are perceived. Is it like so weird? Like, it is like a consideration that I think about, and therefore I have that at the back of my head watching this bit also.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective. It sucks to think about. I mean, obviously, Supernatural is foreign media to me. It's just how it is. But even here in the podcast, right? Like, it's my podcast. It's our podcast. And I still think of myself as the foreigner here. And I don't know. Like, you get what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
Because our audience is predominantly not Filipino. But it's fine. Yeah. So those are the thoughts that this scene brought up for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. The host is a Japanese man, and he alternates between speaking Japanese specifically as like it's so confusing for Sam and Dean, and speaking English in an accent as isn't it so funny how the R's and L's get mixed up when he talks? So yeah, and like, okay, like, people do talk like this, like, that is the case, but like, it is very clear that like it is part of the humor of this section that he talks like this.
It is that bit with the woman from El Salvador over again.
And it feels especially egregious because this follows the curious case of Dean Winchester, when there is a character who also has an accent, Patrick, who has an Irish accent. And like, I don't know, I just thinking back on the episode, it's like crazy how like they mention his accent once as like a way to identify him, and then like they don't even make like a St. Patrick's Day joke. Like, they don't do anything about him being Irish like as a joke during the episode at all, because this is a form of foreignness that like is like acceptable in Supernatural, that's like still in the people without quotation marks, you know, like part of Supernatural. And I don't think that they should have been making Irish jokes. Like,
Dean should have done like
the Winchesters
Irish
hate the Irish
just for equality.
But like, yeah, but
let's just make more press groups in Supernatural. Let's just do it.
Literally, like, let's bring back hibernophobia. Like,
So horrible.
But yeah, it just is very, like, they like wouldn't let that woman be El Salvadorian without like her saying like Abraham Lincoln killed Mr. Hill in her accent as a joke, and without Dean saying like muchos locos, and they won't let this guy be Japanese except in the way where the entire joke is that he's Japanese. But like, Patrick could just be existing, and yeah, we should have brought back hibernophobia. That's my conclusion. But anyway, so okay, I guess, okay, at this point in the episode while Danica and I were watching, we paused it and we went on like an hour-long thing where we just like looked up the actor for the game show host. Like, we were going through his Twitter, we were going through like, oh, congrats to his son for getting recruited for football for college. But anyway, so I guess the relevant things here, the actor, his name is Hiro Kanagawa. He was born in Japan, but he spent his childhood in Canada and Michigan. He went to an international high school in Japan. But like, I guess, you know, the conclusion is that like he is putting on the accent, especially because we then skimmed a 50-minute video of a con, a supernatural con that he was at. There? Yes, it was a supernatural con from 2022.
That's crazy.
And he was on for being in an episode from 2009 for less than 3 minutes, I would say. And he was on it with Steve Basic, who plays Dr. Sexy. Like, they were like,
what the fuck are they still doing with supernatural conventions?
I know. And, like, there were people there. Like, they were asking questions. Like, who paid for this?
What the hell? Well, it's one of the more beloved episodes of Supernatural.
It is one of the more beloved episodes of Supernatural. So I think a few highlights of that. Steve Basic was trying to do, like, a homoerotic thing with him, like, because, like, they, like, had absolutely nothing to talk about, and it was really awkward, because, like, while they were doing it, they were, like, sitting faced away from each other. But anyway, that's not actually relevant. What? It was just very interesting to watch. But, okay.
This is all revealed to me, by the way. I've not heard any of this before.
Yeah, no. So, I guess... Okay, 2 things. So someone asked him about how realistic this is, and he says that it is pretty realistic for a Japanese game show, which is sort of what you were saying earlier. And, like, he's on a supernatural con. He's not going to be saying that the writing was racist or anything. And I don't know what he believes about the episode, but I do know what I believe. And then it became this really weird thing where he was like, oh, but some of my Japanese friends were telling me that, like, I wasn't being crazy enough and I should have been making it crazier. You know, like, Japanese people, like, everyone thinks we're so, like, reserved and quiet, but there's, like, a little bit of crazy in all of us, and every Japanese person you meet, there's just a little bit of crazy, and it'll just come out, and, like, it was so uncomfortable to watch, because it just felt very much like he was, like, pandering to a white audience in, like, some way, but, like, I don't know, maybe this is your truth, Hiro Kanagawa.
There was this, like, tweet once that was, like, it was comparing Japanese content creators, so, like, on YouTube. They would have, like, channels that are subtitled in English, so it's for an English-speaking audience. And then they would have, like, the same videos, pretty much, on a separate channel for a Japanese audience. And the difference in, like, editing style and everything... It was like, would be like so massive because like there is a conception of like Japanese YouTube content being like peaceful and nice and blah 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 and quiet and for like your Western audience versus like zany and wacky for their Japanese audience. So I think I can perceive what he's trying to get at in there. That like how it is like they like their entertainment perhaps zanier than that.
Yeah. And then he was asked a little bit about the audition. And I think the main thing that I remember is that all of the lines were written in English and they were just like, if you could just like translate them on the spot or ad-lib something, like, can you do that? And, like, I mean, I guess it makes sense if they don't have a translator on the team because you're asking people to audition who can speak Japanese. But, like, is this, like, common practice? Someone in showbiz, let us know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but anyway, this guy has a pretty good career. He's been on a Star Trek. He adapted a play that was award-winning and stuff. I'm happy for him. But yeah, anyway, so that was an hour or more of my life, which is maybe why I didn't think this episode was that funny because I took a break for an hour to just stalk this one guy.
I cannot believe they did that in a convention. I'm still stuck on it.
Just inviting him to said convention?
No, like what you were saying about the other guy trying to do something. People will do anything for entertainment.
They really, really will. It was so uncomfortable because Hiro Kanagawa was just like not really into it. But yeah. Anyway. The game show is called Nutcracker. Sam and Dean are both at a podium and there's this pole with a ball at the end of it, like sticking out like about crotch level in front of them. And the host asks Sam in Japanese, what was the name of the demon you chose over your own brother? And since it's in Japanese, Sam doesn't understand. If Bobby was here, he would have rocked this shit.
Literally.
Sam can't answer the question, and the timer hits 0. And the answer is Ruby. Then Sam's punishment is that the pole whacks Sam in the nuts, and he is in a lot of pain.
They do the typical, at the end of K-dramas.
The replay.
Replay from different angles. Truly iconic.
One of the women in the devil costumes does like a shrimp chip advertisement. And then Cass shows up. The doors open and it's Cass.
And the audience is like,
good. Yeah, they're just like me for real.
Yeah. Later on, the audience, when he comes in, the audience woos again. But they see that he is beaten up and they go, oh. And I'm like, you do not understand me at all.
Yeah.
I would have cheered louder.
So, Cass goes, it's me. What are you doing here? And, Dean is like, what are you doing here? And apparently he's been looking for them because they've been missing for days. Who, like he can't track them. Like, was he just, like, looking for them for something else and they didn't show up? Or did Bobby call him or something? I think Bobby real.
Maybe he is tracking them.
But, like, how with the rib stuff?
Without the ribs, with the rib stuff. Maybe Kabi is real. And that's why.
I think Kabi is real. And he's about to get them out by doing the forehead touch thing, but then he disappears. Like, he statics out.
Yeah.
And
the host says,
Mr. Trickster does not like pretty boy angels.
So true, and we get a reaction shot of Dean's face considering this.
And then he asks Dean a question that is another, like, being mean to Sam question.
Yeah!
I don't get it. I guess, I don't know, Gabriel's just mad at Sam.
Obsession, yeah.
Yeah, there's a psychosexual obsession on top of him being upset that Sam seems more responsible for causing the apocalypse and whatever.
To be fair, later when he was like, you caused the apocalypse, he was referring to the both of them. And I was like, finally someone who is exhibiting equality.
I mean, Cass also said, like, you and your brother
destroyed. This is true.
Yeah,
but
I think
he was
people
trying
have
to be
been
gay
blaming both of them. Sure. People have mostly been blaming both of them, I think.
Yeah.
The question is, would your mother and father still be alive if your brother was never born?
Crazy question.
Yeah. Like, probably not. Like, probably something else would have just happened, you know?
Yeah. Like, maybe John would have been killed
John's
in a softball
Jenny
game.
is coming after him. Yeah, he would have been killed at a softball game. I mean, he literally does die of a stroke in, like, what is and what should never be. So, like,
yeah.
In
a softball game.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the questions in Japanese. Dean doesn't understand. He's freaking out. It's so unfair that he doesn't get hit in the nuts. Like, if anyone in the world deserves to get hit in the nuts, it is Dean Winchester. But Sam realizes, like, oh, the way to get out of this is to play the role the Trickster wants us to play. So, Dean just like ad-lib Japanese or whatever. And then he tries and he is able to say in Japanese, the answer is yes. And apparently he won the entire game by having one correct answer. And they're relieved, but are also like, well, how long do we have to play our roles? Gabriel literally said 24 hours. Like that's what he said
Cass
earlier.
Did come in and was like, you've been missing for days. So,
but I think it hasn't been 24 hours within like the passage of time that Sam and Dean are experiencing. Oh right, I forgot one more thing. While I was looking through Hiro Kanagawa's IMDb, back in 1998 on the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV show, he also played a role called Japanese game show host. So this is a
fair.
This is a very old joke, I guess, was my main takeaway, that like US shows have been making fun of Japanese game shows for like 11 years by this point. But yeah. And he had to audition. Like, he had to audition the regular way. Like, Steve Basic just got called in, but yeah.
For Dr.
Like,
Sexy?
this is his specialty, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, even though both of them knew the director because they were both on Smallville before.
I think it's sinking into me just now that, like, it's such a massive production. Like, you have to audition for every single role? That's crazy.
I mean, they call people for some, and then a lot of, like, the non-speaking roles, I guess, like, they go to an extras company and they ask if you can spare a few people.
No, but, like, imagine, like, you know, that girl who was, like, brushing her hair and then scratches her head out. Like, she probably had to be, like,
That's
chosen
true.
or audition or whatever.
Yeah.
And so was the kid
How much
in
did
that
she
episode.
even make?
And it's like, wow, that's so much work. You know that post that's like, it truly is a matter of, like, it truly is, like, a testament to how hardworking humans are that people will just make bad TV shows. Because, like, it's so much work for something that's a mid. That's, like, how I feel about Supernatural.
No. Yeah. Agreed. Like, there are so many actors each episode, and, like, someone had to watch, like, 100 tapes and decide which person would deliver a line that was written badly for, like, 2 seconds. And then they had to, like, fly over or whatever.
I think there is a matter of, like, Supernatural. I think I've said this before with, like, Matt Cohen. That, like, you get, like, a role that people like. You're solved in the con department if you so desire. So, there is that incentive for Supernatural. It has a very loyal fan base.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, Hiro Kanagawa was at a con in 2022 for being Japanese game show host.
And this was in 2009. Like, I mean, good for you, I suppose. So, where they end up is a fucking lakeside commercial. Like, well, there's a lady doing yoga by the lakeside, and then an old man, and they're going, I have genital herpes. I have genital herpes. And then there's, like, a basketball court that's, like, the filter is, like, very, like, airy and, like, very zen, ethereal, whatever. And it's Sam. And he turns around and he doesn't want to do it, but Dean comes in and just pats him on the shoulder and is like, hey, you said we should follow the fucking things, right? So Sam goes, I've got genital herpes. And it's an ad.
Which is a lie. You have chlamydia, Sam. That's a different thing.
Literally. And they're also playing basketball in this scene, which is truly iconic. Truly a wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Sam's good at it just because he's tall.
They're not wearing fun basketball outfits. They're wearing, like, sweatpants and a shirt. And it's like, what the fuck is this corny shit? Put on a jersey.
When people play basketball recreationally, they have jerseys.
Well, here, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming if if you're in a colder place, like, you ought to have, like, pants, I think. just because it's colder. But yeah, here you go out on the street and it's like somebody wearing a LeBron jersey.
That's so fun. Well,
It is.
congrats to the sales of all of those sports teams.
And the rest of the bit is like Sam being apprehensive to say shit like, now I take twice daily Herpecia to reduce my chances of passing it on. Now they're back to the fucking sitcom. And like Sam leads the woman out of the room in a bikini. He just lets her go out in a bikini.
She not like she has to have a shirt somewhere that like
I understand.
I don't know, maybe it's a beachfront like house in the sitcom, so maybe a lot of people walk around in bikinis. I don't know.
It's like kind of crazy that like, but I mean, to be fair, like they're in TV land, so it could just be that they're in TV land.
Yeah. Yeah, and also he knows that these aren't like real people, like Gabriel like created them. I guess Gabriel's canonically racist then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess if Gabriel created them, like it's like after she leaves the room, she will disappear into the ether, so it's fine.
Sam and Dean are like trying to talk, but and trying to play the role of being funny, but having a rough time. And Sam's like, "Oh, how long are we gonna be here? Are we gonna be here forever? We might die here." And then the laugh track is like, "Ha ha 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 ha," and then the door opens and it's Cass again, and he has a little wound in his face.
Ugh.
People are applauding, but they're like, "Oh, he has a wound on his face," and Dean is like weirdly concerned about Cass this entire episode.
Yeah, no, it was like, yeah, like maybe Destiel like is real. Like I'm coming back around to it.
Well, first of all, Destiel is real. But like, yeah, I don't know, because we were but we were watching that episode where Free to Be You and Me, and it's like, well, does he care? Does he not? What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back to like he give a shit.
Yeah, it's
And, like,
so yeah. I don't even get it. Like why?
Well, because love is real.
But they're not in love yet.
Yeah, they're not in love yet. But I mean, we did just get Body of Mine the other episode. So
Yeah, I guess Cass keeps getting into dangerous situations or whatever.
no, what I mean is like the Body of Mine is also like, didn't think he thinks of Cass that way. But okay.
But I mean, it's because like the guy in Night Shifter was his best friend that he just let go. Like Dean attaches himself fast, I think, was our takeaway.
I'm trying to think of what has happened between Free to Be You and Me and now to warrant such a concern for Cass. And it's like, well, I guess Free to Be You and Me happened. And that is like a bonding experience for them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he felt so bad after Cass disappeared when Dean said he wasn't funny that he was like, I'm gonna be a better friend. I'm changing myself.
Literally, just like me for real when I was like, how are you, Crystal? No wonder.
And I said, like, why did you ask me that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think season 5 will have varying degrees of Cass and Dean,
it's the end that does it, right? Because like Dean's very fond in the don't ever change, and it's like because he saw End vs. Cass destroying himself and stuff.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Oh, maybe love is kind of real, huh?
So yeah, okay. So I think it's maybe the realization that like Cass's loyalty to him is like something
like,
he shouldn't
Cass
take for granted.
Clearly cares about me like a lot. Like he stuck with me in End verse, and also like Yeah,
he
like
saved me from that
he
thing.
isn't
Yeah.
like invincible or whatever. Like he like lost all his powers and was miserable in Enverse because of me. So
And it's
like I'll be nice.
I think Enverse is a reminder of how big of a sacrifice what he did in the end of season 4 really was.
Yes.
Like, that's not just nothing. That's a big sacrifice. It's throwing your whole life away. So, yeah. Okay, I get it. But it is so... That's sweet. Is this real?
Destiel might be real.
Yeah.
The jury's out, but it's
dilly-dally.
leaning towards realness.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Cass comes in. He's concerned. And he's saying that Trickster is much more powerful than a Trickster should be. It's probably not Trickster. And then he gets flung into a wall, and Gabriel comes in. And he's like, hello. And he turns to Cass, who now has duct tape mouth. And he's like, hi, Castiel. So, they know each other. Mm-hmm. And Cass disappears. And, Sam says, you know him? And Dean goes, where did you just send him? Which is truly a difference in thing.
Well, I mean, truly a Sabriel Destiel win.
Exactly. Oh, iconic. And Dean gets mad at this. And he's asking, like, what the fuck this is all for. Dean says, like, we get it. We're supposed to play our roles, blah, blah, blah. And the Trickster is like, yeah, play your roles here, but also play your roles out there. Sam starring as Lucifer. Dean starring as Michael. And, yeah. Sam realizes here that they're not going to be able to convince this guy because he wants the apocalypse to happen.
Yeah.
And that's odd. And yeah, Sam goes like, if we do that, the world will end. And Gabriel looks at him and goes, yeah, whose fault is that? And then, but he's looking at the both of them at this point. He goes, like, who popped
I think
Lucifer
he does blame Sam more, though. Like, Sam got his nuts busted, and he has genital herpes, and both of the questions were about how Sam is to blame for terrible things in the world.
He's the one who turns into a car. Like, is that the thing is, like, Sam turning to a car is a punishment for him, and if he did it to Dean, that's not a punishment for Dean. So maybe, like, he was just, like, trying to be efficient in his choices.
That's true. And Dean is into cock and ball torture, so it wouldn't be a punishment for Dean.
Exactly.
Yeah, he didn't specify how he wanted to get slapped around by that girl in the Zorro mask.
Could be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Dean asks which side he's in. Is it heaven or hell? But Gabriel is saying, not on any. But Dean is like, yeah, for sure. I'm sure you're
somebody's bitch.
Yeah. And Gabriel gets mad at this.
Because he's anti-misogyny, feminist king.
Feminist king. He throws Dean against the wall, but not in a Dr. Sexy Dean way. He literally like in a choking him up the wall way. The Trickster says like, don't ever presume anything about me. And he's like, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna suck it up, accept your responsibilities, and play the roles that destiny have chosen for you. Sam is like, if we don't? And Gabriel says, well, you'll be in TV land forever. 300 channels and nothing is on.
He really is Chuck's son.
You know, I do find this fascinating because, well, one, he's friends with Cass. Like they're family. But they know each other. And Cass does not have this kind of relationship with any of the other archangels. Which is fascinating. That like
he and Raphael are not particularly close. They're just like frenemies / enemies.
Yeah. And like it seems to me that that Raphael and Cass did not particularly know each other or talk to each other prior
Yeah.
to their enemy status. Cass doesn't seem to know Michael at
No,
all,
Michael,
like
yeah. Yeah.
as a
And
person or
Lucifer
as
is
an angel.
Lucifer.
And Lucifer's a Lucifer. So I need specifically to stop saying Lucifer every single time, but literally
It's fun though.
yeah, exactly. But no, but like especially like later on when we get to the man who would be king, like it is Gabriel who tells Cass like, "Don't step on that fish, Castiel." Right?
Wait, like
Big
no,
plans for that fish.
they don't say who said that.
Oh, I just assumed it was Gabriel. Okay.
I always thought it was Raphael for some reason. Raphael or Uriel, I think.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like the fact that Gabriel is more closer to the lower ranking angels such as Cass is fun. And I think for Cass specifically, it's fun because like prior to all this, Cass is very loyal to the family unit. And even now he is. Even now he is looking for God. Like that's his whole deal.
Yeah.
And like it's the loyalty to the family unit versus the guy who left because he couldn't stand the like infighting. I don't know. It's fascinating. I think in terms of like defining what love means in terms of family situation, and especially in family situations this disastrous and messy. Like Gabriel's love manifests as like, I don't want to have to be here and see this. And for Cass, it's like, let's fix it, I suppose. I don't know. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, let's fix it by bringing Dad back. I'm
Yeah.
sure that he will
Fixes
everything.
everything. I mean, for everyone's context, I have been in my season 11 feelings, which, if you know anything about Supernatural, that's the season Chuck comes back. And I don't know. That's why I've been thinking a lot about the like family dynamic, I suppose, as well. Like I truly do feel like watching season 11 and watching the God reveal and everything simultaneously with season 5 is like, oh, okay. That's a good format to watch those two.
Makes sense. So, how long has Gabriel been away from heaven and like hiding and being a trickster? Like ever since Tall Tales, at least, right?
Yeah, but it seems to be even before that.
Yeah, like I think before that also. So, like, how long has it been since like Cass and Gabriel have seen each other, and what did Cass think Gabriel was up to?
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes your brother just disappears.
It's true. Yeah, it's so sad that they don't get to talk properly. Cause like, I don't know, like Cass and Anna's relationship was, I mean, it was built off of history and her being his boss for a long time, but like, you know, in season 4 it was like, this is like one way that an angel can rebel, and Gabriel is like, as you've said, like another way an angel can rebel. And like, I don't know, I wish that there was some form of emotional reaction from Cass at discovering that this is what he's been up to since he left the family.
Yeah, like Uriel, Anna, Cass, Gabriel. Like all of these are different manifestations of discontent. And that's an interesting avenue to explore. They don't even explore
Raphael
it when
too.
Gabriel. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right. I mean, every angel, honestly.
Yeah, none of them are happy. I guess Zachariah's having a good time.
Zachariah's having a blast. But yeah, like, it's why, like, when Gabriel comes back, I don't even think he and Cass have, like, a good conversation. Because they give all of the fan service Sabriel lines to Sam.
Good. Like, I support it.
Because, like, Cass telling Gabriel, like, we need you. I need you. It's like something that makes sense because that's like a
Yeah.
person who has been there the whole time, understands your family dynamic, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sam saying it is like, so are we gonna fuck? Like, are they gonna fuck? What's happening?
Sam says in this episode that they might need Gabriel's help and that they're gonna use him. Does he say that in this episode?
What does he say?
So, does he say that they're gonna use him, or did I make that up? Yeah, he goes about like the trickster, like maybe we can use him. So true.
Maybe they
but
do
yeah.
need him. And he needs
Yeah.
him. Ugh, so corny. I can't believe. No, it's just they use that line, obviously, in Goodbye Stranger. So it's extra
Yes.
funny that they use it for Sam and Gabriel. Like, what is this? Supernatural is truly
Pretty
a funny
good.
ass show.
Pretty good. So Gabriel snaps his fingers and they end up in a cop procedural. Apparently it's supposed to be CSI Miami. And Sam and Dean are in suits with like sunglasses and stuff. And there's a body. And Dean says that he hates procedural cop shows because all of them are the same. And he goes, it's like, ooh, plane crash here, shut up. That's so mean. Just because Elementary has a plane crash episode in the first season doesn't mean you have to be so mean, Dean. Anyway. So they notice that there is a cop who's sucking a lollipop, just like Mika, for real. So they're like, okay, let's figure out a way to just kill that guy. Sam and Dean inspect the body, and the whole time they start doing like really corny, not even good jokes / puns about the death in like their like, I'm a cop who's cool and wears sunglasses at night voices.
It is pretty fun, though.
It's pretty fun.
To see Sam
Yeah.
slowly remove his sunglasses.
Glasses and then put them back on after a joke and then remove them again for more jokes. Yeah.
Iconic.
So they're doing this and the other cop just keeps laughing and laughing like, God, these are such good jokes about this dead body in front of us. And then while he is distracted with laughing, Dean stabs him with a wooden stake. And it's not Gabriel. There's a different cop somewhere else who starts laughing and turns into Gabriel and goes like, you've got the wrong guy, idiot. And Dean goes, did we? And then suddenly Sam is behind Gabriel and he stabs him non-sexually, I suppose, but it could be. And Gabriel falls over, there's a bunch of static, and now they're in the warehouse that they entered in the first place. Gasp.
Yeah.
And Gabriel is supposedly dead on the ground, so they go back to their motel.
In there, like, Dean's, like, washing his face, and he's like, man, I'm worried about Cass. I wonder what happened to Cass.
God. I mean, I guess because it's been a few hours, so they would assume that Cass would come back to check in. So
Yeah, and as he's doing this, nobody's responding. So he goes out to the room, and nobody's there. And he's like, Sam, where the hell are you? So he goes to the Impala, and he's, like, leaving a voicemail for Sam as he steps in. And then he goes in, and somebody goes, Dean? And Dean's like, huh? Where the fuck are you? I don't see anyone. And Sam is like, oh, crap. And realize that he's inside the fucking car. And they didn't kill the trickster.
He is the car?
He is the car. He is the car. And it's just a really fun scene where it's like, as the Impala drives, there's this really fun theme song. And the lights of the front of the Impala are like waving about.
Yeah.
Is Sam or Dean a Transformers kid? were they Transformers kids?
Yeah, wait, wasn't there the Megatron thing in
Yeah, that's a
reading
Transformer.
his fundamental? Yeah.
So I think from that we can assume that they are not Transformers kids because Sam made that mistake. Also, I do not think Sam would have made that mistake. Sam would not have been like Megatron.
Yeah, like, he's Bible boy to me. Like, I think he knows about the Metatron. I don't even think the Metatron's in the Bible. Is the
no,
Metatron
but
in
he's
the
read
Bible?
the Good Omens. He's read Good Omens, so he'll know.
God, so true. That's why he was niceys to Jack. He was like, no, don't worry. I read a book.
This is like, just like Adam for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like brainstorming on like what's happening right now. And Sam goes, the stake didn't work because what if this is not a trickster? You heard Cass. He said this thing was too powerful to be a trickster. And Dean goes, did you notice the way he looked at Cass? Almost like he knew him. Which, for some reason, I find hilarious that he pointed it out. And Sam goes, yeah, and how pissed he got when you brought up Michael and Lucifer. So they have figured out who or what they're dealing with.
Archangel.
Well, it's an angel, maybe.
Or an angel,
But,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they expected it to be Gabriel. Like, I think that is still a reveal.
They set up in a park. I guess there was some holy oil left over from 503 that Dean kept in the trunk or something. Because, like, Cass said it was very rare, and he had to go to Jerusalem to get it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, like, a joke where Dean's getting stuff from the trunk of the car, which is Sam, and Sam goes, Dean, that feels really uncomfortable. Like, okay, slay. It is funny when Dean closes the trunk and Sam goes,
ow. So true.
Like, God bless. Dean just starts shouting to the sky, and he goes, like, we'll do it. Which I think, like
yeah,
okay,
that's dangerous, Dean.
Like, bro, like, you just literally said yes to, like, Michael and Lucifer. Like, I don't know what the rules are specifically. Like, maybe you have to say the word yes specifically, but, like, I would personally not risk this. Like, this seems like Michael can now come in.
Yeah.
Gabriel shows up, and he goes, wow, Sam, get a load of the rims on you. And Sam goes, eat me. And Gabriel doesn't even make the obvious next joke after the words rims and eat have happened. So maybe Sabriel isn't real.
This is so sad.
And then Dean's like, you have to turn Sam back to human before we properly agree. It happens. Sam's back. Does Sam speak at all for the rest of the... Okay, no, he has like one line, but he says very little in the later scenes. The tricksters... Well, okay, Gabriel's like, I'm a trickster. Why didn't the stake kill me? I don't know. And then Sam drops a lighter, and then a ring of fire happens around where Gabriel is standing. So somehow they were able to guess that he would just be in the middle of that circle. Because with Raphael, like, Dean did some stuff to lead him in the middle. Yeah. But, like, with this one, he was just there. I guess lucky them. And Dean goes, like, oh, like, I think you're an angel. And Gabriel's like, that's crazy. And Dean's like, what?
Okay.
What?
That's
what?
so funny. What?
Me? Huh? No. And Dean's like, okay, go out of the holy fire. And, you know, it proves that you're not an angel. Go for it. But he does not. And
he changes
there's
back to
static.
reality.
And, yeah, we're back in the warehouse.
And he's clapping, which is pretty fun. Gabriel asks, like, where did I screw up? And Sam goes, you didn't. Oh, Sabriel is real. Nobody gets the jump on Cass like you did. Is that true?
Destiel is real, and that's literally not true. Love is blinding, Sam. Cass gets beat up like every other episode.
Literally, like Cass cannot even throw a fucking punch. Like
Sam had to rescue Cass from Alistair and like on the head of a pin. Like Sam like has explicitly seen someone get the jump on Cass.
Exactly. Dean goes like, mostly it was the way you talked about Armageddon. Call it personal experience, but nobody gets that angry unless they're talking about their own family.
Corny.
And Sam goes, so which one are you? Grumpy, sneezy, or douchey? He thinks he's so
not
funny.
He's not also, funny. His stand-up career is doomed.
But I'm gonna stand by his side here because this is a Snow White reference, and I just know that Dean would give him shit for it. So it's okay.
That's true. That's true. Sam, I'm really glad that you're being more open about your sexuality.
You know that I don't know if this is supposed actually, but like that one where it's like Dean literally is like fine if Sam is attracted to men, but he's not fine if Sam knows about Disney princesses.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna talk about the joke that was like one time Dean would drink like a mocha in front of Sam and think that was like coming out. And later when Sam goes like, "What, you're bi?" Dean's like, "I literally told you like I drank gay coffee in front of you."
Literally. He reveals now that he is in fact Gabriel, the archangel. Dean asks like, how did he become the trickster? And he says it's his witness protection because he wants to skip out of heaven, and so he did, and had, carved out a little corner of the world.
Do we learn anything about Gabriel's vessel? Because he says he had a face transplant. Like, is this like
what
his
it
own
is
body?
There is a trickster that looks exactly like this, and he like borrowed that god's image.
Huh.
It's, I think, how I remember it from future seasons.
Fun.
And Dean's like, oh, so what did Daddy say about this? And Gabriel's like, he's very spiteful every time he talks about like anything family related, because like Gabriel's tone in general is kind of like sarcastic, dramatic, whatever. But every single time any of his brothers or God is brought up, he just starts like being genuinely like pissed and upset. And he just goes, Daddy doesn't say anything about anything. Sam asks like, okay, so why did you leave? And Dean is trying to be spiteful, I guess, and goes, do you blame him? Like, his brothers are heavyweight douche nozzles. Truly a line. Gabriel is like upset that Dean is saying this, and he's saying, you don't know anything about my family. I love my fathers. I love my brothers. But watching them turn on each other, tear at each other's throats, I couldn't bear it, okay?
Richard Speight was not being a very good actor during this scene, but I think it's because the lines are a bit over dramatic.
Yeah. And he's saying that he doesn't necessarily want the world to be over, but he wants it to be over. Like, it being the fighting and the backstabbing and the killing each other of his brothers. So he doesn't care who wins. He just wants it to be done. He's saying there's absolutely no stopping it. And at some point he goes, this isn't about a war. It's about two brothers that loved each other and betrayed each other. You'd think you'd be able to relate. And then Sam goes, what are you talking about? Like, obviously, Sam, he's talking about you and Dean. Like,
I don't think Sam would say this. Like, I don't know. I feel like who wrote this? Jeremy Carver?
Yeah.
I think he just thinks the audience is stupid. I don't know. Like, it's just all the Gabriel speech is like so on the nose. And like, it's just I just think it's like, this is like they set this up to be like, they're two brothers and they're gonna fight each other just like Sam and Dean. Like, I feel like that's like something that you would want to do more subtly, or like to do later in the season if it was gonna be like a hashtag reveal or whatever, because like you want people to like realize it by themselves and go like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But like to just shove it down the audience's throat like this And to even to have Sam be like, huh, what? Just so Gabriel couldn't explain it more is like dumb. Like, it's like they're patting themselves on the back.
I would have preferred that Sam and Dean, like, realize it by themselves. Like, that would be my ideal. Like, not like Gabriel telling them, not anyone telling them, just being like, I think it's us because we are brothers and etc.
Yeah.
Because that warrants more self-reflection for the both of them versus whatever the fuck they're trying to do here. But yeah, he's saying like, as it is in heaven, so it must be on earth. One brother must kill the other. Michael, the big brother, and he points at Dean, loyal to an absent father, and Lucifer's little brother points at Sam, rebellious of daddy's plan. Ugh. You think it's stupid?
Stupid shit. Yeah. Sorry, I do.
Can you elaborate?
I think the fact that he's saying it is stupid, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they're spelling it out so hard. I don't get it. You don't have to do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, so he's saying like, the moment Dad flipped the lights on around here, we knew it was all gonna end with you always, which is pretty damn terrifying.
Boo.
I suppose.
Yeah. Dean goes, no, that's not gonna happen. And at this point, Danica goes, why does Dean get to make the choice? What if Sam wants to kill him? And so true. And Gabriel's like, no, like, it has to happen. I wish this was a TV show because there would be easy answers and endings wrapped up in a bow, but it's real and it's gonna end bloody for all of us. I hate when TV shows go, like, oh my, this isn't like fiction where, like, it's like a neat narrative. This is like a real, like, it's like Supernatural is the most formulaic, like, not real show in the entire world.
Literally.
Every episode, like, there's 20 different posts about the formula of Supernatural where you go, let's go, like, kill and hunt monsters on the road. What about the most recent traumatic event? Well, I think what would make me feel better about recent traumatic event is if we could kill and hunt monsters on the road. Like, that is Supernatural. You cannot be like, we're so much better than, like, Grey's Anatomy and, like, blah, 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 because we're, like, raw. Like, no, you're not. Yeah.
Literally.
And it is an easy answer with an ending wrapped up in a bow at the end of Swan Song, I would say. So, yeah. Whatevs. So, like, after this little speech, Gabriel's still in the holy fire, and he's like, okay, well, what now? And Dean, because Destiel is real, goes, well, first of all, you're gonna bring Cass back from wherever you stashed him. Aw, that is kind of nice. And after some threats, Gabriel does this. And Cass appears, and he looks totally uninjured, totally fine, but Dean still goes, Cass, you okay?
Literally, like, what is this? What is this? It's cute. They're buddies.
Yeah. It is cute.
What's so funny is, like, I cannot conceptualize Cass at this point being like, Dean, are you okay? Like, hit a gaff about you being okay in this way. But Dean is like, are you hurties? I know you're an angel and everything, but, like, are you fine?
Are you okay? Do you have a boo-boo? Do you need me to kiss it better?
Do you need a little fun little,
do you want a pink flower band-aid? Yeah, and Cass goes, I'm fine. Hello, Gabriel. And Gabe asks him how the search for God is going. Let me guess, awful. And Cass just death glares at him. I really wish they talked.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Or that, like, I don't know. Like, I can see why Cass would be like, I know you guys can't convince Gabriel to help, but maybe I can. Because, like, Cass is an angel who, like, recently got convinced to help. And, like, he and Gabriel are sort of friends. Like, they do have a history. But yeah, no, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So Dean goes, we're out of here. Come on, Sam. Again, what if Sam wanted to kill you? Like, let him make that choice.
Literally.
He hasn't spoken since. What are you talking about? Like, it's dumb.
Stupid.
Whatever. Maybe he's just been standing there in, like, abject shame over how dumb that question was. So that's why he hasn't said anything.
He was like, my stand-up career is over. My interview career, over. Like...
Oh my god, I really do have to be a hunter forever now. So, Gabe is like, what the fuck, are you just gonna leave me here in this fire, like, forever? And Dean goes, no, because we're nice, unlike you. And also, this isn't about some prize fight between your brothers or some destiny that can't be stopped. This is about you being too afraid to stand up to your family, which I feel like is a really, I just think there's a lot of assumptions baked into that. I don't really know what from Gabriel's speech would make Dean so sure that Gabriel could just stop the apocalypse if he wanted to.
I actually like this line.
Okay.
And to defend it, I would say it's not about whether you can stop the apocalypse and whether that's a certain fact or not. It's because you personally just have given up. And like I did appreciate that like your bitterness isn't like from your family fighting. It's like from you and your helplessness, and you have subjected yourself to that helplessness as well.
Okay.
I thought it was an interesting thing for Dean to say. Is why I like it. Is there a self-reflection thing happening here? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think anything regarding Dean and the apocalypse involved him being too afraid to stand up to his family.
Yeah. I would have liked if this line wasn't with Dean. Like, if it was with Sam, I probably would like it better, and it would be more comprehensible too for, like, the audience to, like, connect to or whatever. You know what I mean?
And, yeah, it would close off the Sam wanted to get Gabriel as an ally thing better, too.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, yeah, Sam's like, well, you could have been, but I can see that you're too afraid, blah, 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 I'm off. Like, that makes sense to me. Dean pulls the fire alarm so that the water can put out the fire eventually. The transcript says, the fire goes out. Apparently in this world, water extinguishes grease fires instead of spreading them. God, you're so real, transcript person. They go outside. And, like, Cass follows them outside, but then he just stands near the door so they can have a brother moment.
They can have a menace off.
Right, yeah, because while Cass is leaving, there's, like, a last shot of, like, him looking at Gabriel and stuff, which is, like, the only real bit of, like, Cass and Gabriel do have a special relationship thing that we get this episode, but hopefully we see them interact more in the future.
This is, like, probably... do you think this is in the script? Like, they wrote it in? Or this is Charles Beeson being like, I
think Charles Beeson, who apparently goes by Chuck, because that's what Hiro Kanagawa called him.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you think Chuck was named after Charles Beeson at all? Or
Chuck
probably
Shirley?
Not?
No.
Yeah. No.
I'm a hater. I'm so sorry.
I think that Chuck Beeson...
I think
just
Chuck and Charles are such fun names, and everybody should be named Chuck or Charles or Charlie, just like that angel told me.
Just like Gabriel told you to in your dream. But like the real Gabriel, not this one.
Yeah.
And not the Good Omens one.
The Gabriel from Manga Messiah. To everyone who has not listened to Rubbish Pod, the context of that is when I was like, I'm trans. surprise. When I changed
What?
my name, who would have thunk? Well, like when I changed my name to Gray, shortly afterwards, I had a dream where the angel Gabriel descended upon me in my sleep and told me that I should change my name to Charlie, and I didn't because I believe in autonomy and human choices.
Yeah. Better request than, like, go be pregnant, at least.
Literally, like, maybe I am the second coming.
Yeah.
But I
So
rejected
true.
it, so it's not gonna happen.
Oh my god, you saved the world by not changing your name
name
to
to
Charlie.
Charlie.
Thank you.
And I considered it too. I was like interviewing my friends, like, hey, so what do we think of Charlie as a name? And everyone was like, that is so stupid that you're gonna change it from our dream. But good for you. They go out, and Dean is like, do you think all of that was true? And Sam was like, yeah, I think he believes it. And Dean is like, what do we do now?
I think
Sam's
did
like,
Sam. I
I
feel like
don't
Sam
know.
delivered it more as like a. I think he believes it. Like I don't think he's that
He's not saying yeah.
like,
He's
bought
like saying
into
like,
it.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. Dean goes, well, I'll tell you one thing. Right about now, I wish I was back in a TV show. He doesn't say it with that accent, but he should have.
Yeah.
And yeah, they go into the car. We don't even see a shot of Cass getting into the car.
Where is he?
But
I don't
we see
think
a
he
shot.
gets into the car.
We see a shot of him like moving out of the thing of the building, but that's it. That's the last shot.
Yeah, I think he just fucks off. I think that Sam and Dean don't talk to him after that. I personally would be questioning Cass a lot about Gabriel because, like, he knows him.
Well,
but
they're gonna
they
do it
don't,
in
they
the
don't
car.
give a shit. I don't think Cass got in the car.
I think he does. I think he does.
I don't think he does. He's not even in the background shots, like, while they're talking. Like,
He is. He goes out of the
like,
building
he's
and we see him
too,
move
like,
towards the
far.
car.
Huh. I don't know. I
We
don't
just
think
don't
he
see
got
him
in the
open
car.
door. Ugh, sad. Well,
Maybe once 509 opens with Cass sitting in the back
In the
seat,
car.
I'll eat my words. Yeah.
exactly. Well, what did we think about this episode? I thought it was pleasant.
It was fine.
Okay. It was fine. And I did enjoy it. And season 5 has been treating me rather okay. I'm not as egregiously upset about everything. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's best line, worst line? What is our fucking best line in this episode? You know, I know my worst line. And it's Sam going, what do you mean? Or whatever he says there. Like, what do you mean,
that
what
was
do you
fucking
mean?
stupid.
Shut the fuck up, Sam. Sorry, Sam. Nobody should silence Sam ever because he's already so silenced.
Yeah, he should be able to ask all the dumb questions he wants.
Yeah.
Best line. I guess when Dean's saying that he's worried about Cass or whatever, sure, why
Yeah.
not?
I did like when he goes, you okay? Just cute.
Yeah.
And
Worst line.
I would say I would plant an honorary best line too. It's him. It's Dr. Sexy. Just because, you know, I do love Dean. And I do love that he's bisexual. So good for him.
I support bisexuality in all people except for Misha Collins. So yeah, good
Thank
for
God
Dean.
if he's straight. Yeah.
Thank God.
Every single
what
day
is my
I'm so
worst
grateful
line?
that we didn't have a recording in those few days.
No, literally, there was a 3-day sequence when we would have spent like half of a Bad Pod episode being like, and Misha Collins is bi, and then we would have put it out like after he wasn't. So like,
Truly horrific.
yeah. I mean, I guess it'd be a fun bit of supernatural history captured.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We refused to talk about it for like episodes after too. We were like, let's just never acknowledge it.
Yeah. I still need a worse line. I don't know. I guess just when the host introduces Nutcracker, because I guess that's when the accent begins.
I do love they also say Oishi here. Which is in the Philippines that's a brand of shrimp chips and it's fun. I love Oishi. Oishi.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's their tagline. They were the sponsor of my high school fair in 10th grade and the ads were crazy at that time. Like I have all of the fucking promo material memorized. Well, anyway. What's our stats?
Right. The fucking the writer sends yes.
So, I would say for
misogyny exists. Racism exists. Did homophobia exist? I forgot.
Surprisingly does not exist. So I think
ever in the world.
Thank God.
Okay, how much racism and misogyny exists?
I would point at 1 and 1 in this. Although I could be convinced with a 2 and a 2.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I feel like I'm leaning more towards a 2 and 2. Though, okay, I think the misogyny, it feels a little bit like they're parodying things, I suppose. So, like, it's a little better, but also, like, if, like, you're parodying things and the parody is just that you hired women to stand around in bikinis and then didn't give them lines, like, I don't think it's that good of a parody. Yeah. So, misogyny, I could go 1 or 2. Racism, I think I'm 2. Yeah, 2 and 2. Sounds good. Okay, and no homophobia, I think.
Yeah. Because Sam isn't homophobic. He's just misogynistic.
Oh, yeah, the menopause line. I forgot about that one.
Oh, God. Truly a horrific show in those values.
Last episode, we had the, like, talking about suicide makes you grow a vagina line. Like, truly a set of things to be putting next to each other. Yeah.
IMDb. So, I mean, I think I'm not spoiling anyone by saying that this is high, for sure. But how high?
Yes.
You go first.
Right. Okay, the end was a 9.1. Do people like fun ones more than they like good serious ones?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so also. So I'm just going to go with a 9.2.
You know what? I'm going to go for a 9.4.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. Let's do it. So the IMDb for Supernatural Changing Channels is 9.6.
Holy fuck, that is high.
It
is not high. That good.
It's not that good.
I guess if you go in not knowing that this is going to be the structure, like, you are chortling and giggling a lot more, I guess, because it's like, I know that this is the silly TV one.
Yeah, I think there's also the aspect of once you watch it here and you don't know that they're gonna do the French mistake, you don't know that they're gonna do fan fiction, like, you're still a bit more like, oh, okay, cool stuff. Like, they will, if we're rating this by zaniness, they will do surely more zany stuff in the future. But if you're just watching this in 2019 or 2009, you don't know that. So. And this one is like, it's appropriate that my guilty pleasure show is like parodying guilty pleasure shows, which is okay. Slay. This one just loves the intro sequence.
Given that I always loved the trickster, I was very happy to find out he is one of the decent angels, the angel Gabriel. What is a decent angel? Like, he wants the world to end.
I mean, he's an angel with a characterization.
Is that what
I suppose Zachariah is an indecent angel.
Sure. People just really like the trickster as a character.
Yeah.
I suppose. I don't. He's always just been kind of annoying to me,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's something new. In a slough of what
yeah.
supernatural is, it's a new concept, a new idea. It's fresh, it's fun. So I get it. I get that people like it for that. Okay, so that's it for this episode of Bustation Beauties. Next week, we'll be discussing season 5, episode 9. Do you know what it is?
No. What
It's
is
the
it?
Real Ghostbusters. Leave us a rating or review
Is
wherever
this
you get
the
your podcast.
Wincest cosplayers one, or is that a different one?
It's the convention.
So the Wincest
And so the Wincest
cosplayers are
ones
there.
and the Chuck one, like Chuck's here, Becky's here.
Oh, and Becky's back. Right. This is when
Kind
the
of-
Becky Chuck love story starts?
I suppose so. I don't know.
Cool.
Crystal's audio got cut off after this, but I mean, you know where to find us. We're at busstationbeautiespod at gmail.com for email, busstationbeautiespod.tumblr.com for Tumblr, ko-fi.com/busstationbeautiespod. We keep our outtakes there. We have really fun one this episode. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. See you all next week or next time or whenever you're listening, I guess. Bye!